Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Today, I want to talk about narcissists and groups, specifically families with narcissists and toxic workplaces. And I tend to refer to narcissistic families as cult families. Narcissistic cult families, they tend to not like outsiders. They will attempt to alienate you from your friends. They'll do this by talking negatively about your friends, especially boyfriends or girlfriends. The narcissistic family, they see outsiders as a threat to the family unit, the narcissistic family unit. And my theory on this is that they don't want you to have any outside influence. They want to be the main influence on your life and all your opinions and everything. So it's not okay for you to have your own friends, and it's not okay really with them for you to date, especially when you first start dating and you first start attempting to have friends and separating yourself from the family. On the opposite end of the spectrum, they will also use strangers or people outside the family to triangulate with you. The narcissists, their friends are more perfect than you. They will one-up you with stories. For example, if you are planning a trip away, the narcissist cousin or aunt, they will act like they already know someone who has already been on an even better trip, and it was a trip around the world and they had the best time and their trip was perfect, and this is meant to just one up you and really to knock you down. They may also be triggered if you say that you're going out to eat to a new restaurant. It seems like the narcissist has already, most of the time, they've already been to that restaurant, and sometimes they'll have a negative opinion. It doesn't matter what restaurant it is. They'll tell you it sucks, to discourage you from going there. Or even with a car, if you're thinking about buying a car, no matter what car you pick, the narcissist is going to be so triggered. They're going to have a story about how terrible that particular car is and how they know someone that has a car like that, and for you not to buy that car. And it doesn't matter what car you pick, just your decisions are never going to be good enough. They're always going to criticize your decisions, and they're going to use other people to triangulate to do that. In the narcissist family, they also love to keep up appearances. Narcissists are, as we all know, very insecure. They feel pressure to have a perfect life, or to feel perfect, or to appear to be perfect, or to have the best of everything. They will live beyond their means to impress strangers. We all know someone like this. They'll go into debt just to have a brand new wardrobe every year. And from the outside, they may be driving a Cadillac and wearing clothes that come from the biggest city in your state, but when it comes down to it, they're actually bankrupt. Another thing they do is with strangers is they have a fake voice with strangers. You'll notice that they speak differently. A lot of times on the phone, this is particularly bad. But also when you run into people in public, they just are the narcissist is a completely different person in front of a stranger. And they're often nicer to strangers than they are to you. They're more encouraging to strangers. They will compliment strangers on something, and then they'll turn around and insult you in the same breath. Like if the stranger has a particular outfit on, they will just go on and on over that outfit or those earrings or whatever that stranger has. But if you could buy the same outfit and wear the same earrings, and you'll be criticized for it. This is another way that they triangulate and The triangulation is just, again, meant to knock you down and make you feel less than. In the narcissistic cult family, there's often a certain pecking order that the narcissists all fall into. There is one main narcissist everyone knows they have to walk on eggshells around, and this carries over when the narcissists have children. So now you have cousins that are in competition with each other. Each narcissist, their child is the best, their grandchildren are the best. The narcissistic family, it's really where it's sort of divide and conquer, especially with siblings. You're not encouraged to have a friendly relationship with your cousins or your siblings. The narcissists love to stir up drama between and cause competition between, and they're always stirring the pot when it comes to this. And so it's difficult for the cousins or the siblings to be close because the narcissists themselves are always spreading gossip or making up secrets and lies about the other cousins. It's an attitude of divisiveness. And if the cousin is narcissistic or the sibling is narcissistic, they will completely buy into this. And so they may constantly brag. They may constantly have to have a new pair of shoes or a new fancy purse to brag about on the holiday that you are forced to see them on Christmas or Thanksgiving. They're going to have a brand new pair of shoes on that they've spent all this money on, and the whole Christmas dinner is going to be about their purse or their shoes. And the siblings or the cousins that may be more empathetic or normal, if they're not narcissistic, they're not really going to be able to tolerate hearing about all the brag. It's going to be very draining for the empath or the empathetic person to try to compete. They may feel like they have to compete, but at the end of the day, you're not going to have as much energy or really drive to want to compete. You're just going to want to have you want a normal family, and you want togetherness, and you want support from your family, but you're not going to get that. Some empathetic or quote unquote normal people that are surrounded by narcissists in the family, they may become codependent. They may develop addictions. In fact, they're almost guaranteed to become codependent. They may become alcoholics or drug addicts just to deal with the feelings of not being accepted or constantly being abused or mistreated. This is why a lot of the times, if you have a narcissistic mother or father, you will be attracted to, or you will attract narcissistic partners in your life. You may marry a narcissist and not even realize it because you're sort of blind to the red flags. You're so used to the mistreatment. Or you may be a prime target for bullying in the workplace. It's like the narcissist sets you up to be a target for the rest of your life in a way. In both the toxic workplace and the toxic family, you will have people that are living in an alternate reality, basically. For example, there will be specific things that you cannot do in the family or the workplace, just simply certain things you cannot do or say. For example, the main narcissist, they may hate cheese. And I've actually seen this, so it's kind of funny, but the main narcissist may hate cheese. Therefore, you can't talk about cheese or you can't eat cheese in front of them because it'll just trigger them so much. And you may, bring in a cheese sandwich for lunch. And so the flying monkey will say, oh, you have a cheese sandwich there. Well, Nancy doesn't like cheese, so she's not going to be happy about that. And this could translate to anything. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't always have to be cheese. It feels like you're on a different planet. There's completely different social norms within this group, within the family or the workplace, that don't apply outside the family or the workplace. They completely make up their own laws that exist within the workplace or the family. You are all expected to hate the same person, even if the person is nice. So if you start working somewhere, especially if you just start and you're not the scapegoat, there's typically already a scapegoat, which everyone hates. And the scapegoat is normally pretty nice. And so you may say, oh, well, I think that person is pretty nice and she helped me out. And then you haven't learned yet that everyone hates that person. And literally everyone will look at you like, oh, no, we don't like her. It won't make any sense. It's just something that has been decided that you're just expected to not question. Another bizarre norm that a toxic workplace may have is they may expect you to not take any breaks, not take a lunch break, and it's just something that everybody does. And when you come into this workplace, you're used to, working a normal schedule, and you come into this workplace and you notice something odd, that nobody's taking a lunch break, and you might ask about it, and everybody is just going to say, all the brainwashed people that work there are just going to say, oh, we don't take lunch breaks. In both the toxic workplace and the toxic family, there will be this undercurrent. This is sort of hard to explain, but there will be a double meaning to everything. It's like everyone operates on this invisible separate frequency that's just a step down from what frequency you're operating on. So it's just nothing that's going to make sense. You're going to maybe piss everybody off unintentionally, just with the most normal statements, because you don't know all the rules. You're a new person maybe, or you're just normal and you don't know all the strange, odd, or you don't care about all the weird, strange, bizarre rules. So in both the toxic workplace and the cult family, there is a culture of secrets and lies. You will never know the real reason for anything. If someone gets divorced, you'll never know the real reason. If someone is fired, you'll never know the real reason. There will be this made-up story, this made-up narrative that all the other narcissists will go by, and it's normally the story is normally orchestrated in a way to make the narcissist the victim. So in both the workplace and the cult family, this piggybacks on everything pretty much I've already said, but they have their own norms, like a cult. Another example of this would be maybe all the women in the family are expected to cut their hair when they reach 30 years old. I guess this is some way that you will show your loyalty to the cult. So everyone will be expected to do certain things, dress, speak a certain way. And I've seen this particularly, for example, again with the haircut. And if you don't do this thing that everyone else is expected to do, you'll be criticized endlessly for it. And they'll just reinforce this bizarre rule. They will just constantly talk about other women that have long hair and how it's not appropriate. And they'll just randomly do this while watching TV. They'll just pick on this person on TV for having long hair, or say that's not age appropriate, or it's not appropriate, or it doesn't look good. So it's just constantly reinforcing this strange rule that they have. And by repeating certain things like this, it's a form of brainwashing. So you're actually going to be thinking about this in your head. It's going to brainwash you to feel like you shouldn't have long hair. If that's what it is, it may be something else in your family. It may be that you're expected to have long hair, but you're going to constantly doubt yourself, and it's just going to call attention to just the most strange thing. It's like Pavlov's bell almost. It's a conditioning, a brainwashing that you're not going to really be conscious of. You're just going to know that you don't feel right. it's going to be a trigger for you. So now, if you've grown up like this, you have a button or a trigger that the narcissist can push at any time. And there will be quite a few of these buttons. You won't realize what they are. You'll just know that you're easily triggered by the narcissist, and you'll just constantly be depressed, and you won't know why, because this type of abuse is not overt. It's very sly, and it happens over time, and it happens from repeated exposure. This is why you should really never trust what the narcissist says. And once you start your journey to healing from the narcissistic abuse, you'll be able to look back and you'll be able to sort of see that what the narcissist has said has never been true. It's just all been lies. And you don't have to believe what they say about you. You don't have to even listen to them or take their opinions. You're going to learn to live your own life and make your own opinions. And the narcissist doesn't want you to make your own choices or have your own opinions. That's why they do these abuse tactics. They want to weaken you. Because the weaker you are and the more dependent you are on the narcissist, the more power they have over you. And the narcissist is going to see you, especially if you have a narcissistic mother, they're going to see you, or father, they're going to see you as an extension of themselves. So that's why you're not allowed to have your own thoughts or opinions, because it's a threat to the alternate reality that the narcissist has created for themselves. I'll end with this final statement that in both the toxic workplace and the toxic family, all the narcissists, they all hate each other. They seem to have a sort of abnormal camaraderie when it comes to insulting other people or abusing you, but there are also times when their hatred towards each other is very apparent, especially if one of them is not there. When they get bored of torturing you, or when there's nothing to talk about with you, they'll turn on each other. And when the scapegoat leaves the toxic family or the toxic workplace, that's why the whole system will implode, because all their hatred and negative energy has to go somewhere, and it normally goes onto each other. Okay, that's the end of my video, and this was just commentary on things that I've noticed about cult families or toxic workplaces and how they may be similar. So if you want to hear more videos like this, stay tuned.